I'm Dave Fornell, and we're getting down to the brass tacks and hard facts on distributor nozzles. Distributor nozzles, known by different names. It could be called a Bresnan, it could be called a cellar nozzle, it could be called a swivel nozzle. But it's one of those tools that you may use only one time in your career, but when you do use it, nothing else is going to work. And the reason for that is that normally used in an upside down position, and if you notice the way these orifices are placed, it actually puts water back up. So if you put this in a basement, it's not only distributing the water around, but it's also coming back up, deflecting off the ceiling, which is very important. Now, it comes in different forms. You can do an 1.5 inches like this one with straight streams on it. You can do an 1.5 inches with the fog tips on it. You can do a 2.5 inches with fog tips on it, or you can do a 2.5 inches, and this was actually the original Bresnan with a smoothbore. They flow differently, there's different patterns, but the most important thing is how you use this, how you deploy it. And of course, the biggest thing is you're going to need to drill with this, you're going to need to practice with it before the fire. Now, one important thing, you need a shutoff. These don't have shutoffs on them, but don't put the shutoff behind the nozzle, because if you're going to put this in the floor, you're going to get soaking wet when you turn that thing on. So you normally put 50 feet of hose between the nozzle and between the shutoff. Now on the 1.5 inch thread, you can use your standard 1.5 inch shutoff. On the 2.5 inches, if you take a 2.5 inch shutoff, there's an increaser. So you put the increaser on the end, and now you can take your 2.5 inch hose and you take your 50 feet. Now, when you go ahead and cut a hole in the floor, understand, if there's a fire down there, you are going to get fire up the hole, you're going to get a lot of heavy smoke, and you're going to get a lot of heat. Best to have a second line behind you to protect the floor you're working on. As you put this in the hole, you call for the water. The idea is to lower it completely until it hits the floor of the area below. Then pull it back up again, and then pull it back down again, so it distributes the water all around the area. And understand that this is probably not going to put the fire completely out. You're still going to have to get into the area, but the knockdown power of this is tremendous. It may be that you're going to have to do a second hole, depending on how big the basement area is. You may have to put a second hole in and then operate it from there, and so on. And then one more tip. If you've got a high-rise fire, it's venting out the window, it's wind-driven. This can be dropped down from a floor above. This is flowing about 450 gallons a minute. So even if you're only getting half that water in the building, you're getting over 250 gallons a minute of water in that open window. And again, you can move it up and down, you can knock that fire down so you can get inside. So it's critical that you practice with this. It's critical, it's a team effort, because you've got the person on the shutoff, you've got the backup line protecting you, you've got the people that are actually operating this. And as I said, once again, if you're going to need to use this, maybe only once in your career, it's the only thing that's going to work.